Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Iyun Benzion. Today's daf Kesubos Yud Ches number 18. I want to discuss today Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos, which turns out to be Machlokes and two Shitas and Tosfos about a Shomer Chinam. But we're going to start over here with the basic concept of Modeh and Mixas. Modeh and Mixas Atayni Shava Rabba explains the reason over here, which I think is pretty much the accepted explanation of the reason you have to take a Shvua by Modeh and Mixas Atayna. In order to make someone take a shvua d'oraisa, there's only 3 times. Modeh mixes is one of those times you have to take a shvua d'oraisa. The reason you take a shvua d'oraisa is because it's probable concern that you're lying over here. If an eid echad says you owe someone money, so even though shei eidim is proof, eid echad is not complete proof because maybe that eid echad is lying, but it's enough of an assumption that you probably owe the guy money, so therefore you have to take a shvua to disprove the eid. Similarly, when Modeh mixes time, the Gemara explains that there's a chazaka, there's an assumption. People are not meiz panav b'fnei bal chovo, right? If someone comes and claims you owe me $100, you're not gonna to his face say, I don't owe you $100, right? And then go ahead and admit I owe you $50, right? The reasoning the Gemara explains that a person psychologically does this because he doesn't want to deny the whole thing because he's not meiz panav b'fnei chovo. And he can't, the reason he's not admitting to the whole thing, he doesn't have the money, he wants to delay, give him time to get more money. So therefore, the Torah says there's a lot of suspicion over here, make him take a shvua and force him to pay the whole thing. He doesn't have the money, he'll garnish his wages, or he'll freeze his bank account. So, Chazak in Amei is part of the Chovo. What is the svara of Chazak in Amei is part of the Chovo? Why is it that a person won't deny in front of his creditor? Is it because he lacks gratitude? Because it shows a lack of gratitude. This guy lent me money. I needed $1,000. He lent me $1,000. Now I'm going to go deny it. And I made it, right? It's a lack of hakaras hatov. Or is the reason just a more basic human reason that he's embarrassed? The person's embarrassed. Someone lent him money to go straight up to his face and say you didn't lend me anything. It's embarrassing to do that. People don't do things that are embarrassing. They rather suffer the financial loss, not be embarrassed, do something embarrassing. So these two reasons are actually a machlokes in Tosfos. I believe it's over here. I didn't read this Tosfos over here. In Deramaskal Bipnei. It's definitely machlokes in Baba Metzia and Baba Kama. I talk about this machlokes. Whether Modeh mixes Ataina applies by Shomer Chinam, right? Here we're talking about halva. Let's say we're talking about someone washed something for you, and the Shomer Chinam washed something for free, right? He did a favor for you, and then you say, "Oh, I gave you $100 to wash, to deposit. I deposited $100 by you," and the guy says, "No, you only deposited $50 by me." Is there a shvua Modeh mixes over there? So if you say the reason of Modeh mixes in an amazed padam is because the guy, but he gave me a loan, right? He did me a favor, so I'm not going to have karas hatov. I'm not going to be. I have a gratitude to the guy. I'm not going to show my ingratitude to the guy. So therefore, by Shomer Chinam, right, he didn't do you a favor. You did him a favor, right? You're watching his deposit for free. So therefore, the svara doesn't apply over there. Maybe there's no shvua. But if you say the reason he's embarrassed, right? So again, the same thing applies over here. If the guy really gave you $100, you're going to be embarrassed to deny it. You're embarrassed to deny it. You're only 50 because maybe you lost it and you want to repay it. But so therefore, it does apply. So this actually could be probably Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos over here. The Gemara tries to figure out Machlokes Elazar ben Yaakov and the Rabbanan what the case is over here. There is a case. They talk about Pamim Sha'adam. The Bryce says in the top of the middle of Yud Chet and Aleph. Tanya, Elazar ben Yaakov or Pamim Sha'adam Nishbal Tanas Asmo. Okay, so Mana Lavicha Biyadi V'Chaltiv Prach. Let's say a father lent someone money, right? And then the father died, right? And this person, the son, is now coming and he's saying, "You owe my father $100. You owe me $100. I'm the inheritor of my father." He says, "You're right. I owed your father $100, but I paid him back $50." So according to the Rabbanan, according to the Yaakov, it was a nishba. The Chum says pater from a shua Modeh mixes over here. So the Gemara finally explains the machlokes to Elazar ben Yaakov. What is the machlokes Elazar ben Yaakov? So the Gemara says we're talking about obviously. Is it talking about the Gemara says they're talking about where the child's a katan? This is the way Rashi learns the Gemara. The child is a katan, meaning he's not bar mitzvah at all. This is the maskana lafi Rashi. And even though Rashi points out the Gemara in Shvua says that einish bon al tainas katan, right? You don't take a shvua if a katan is toveh you money, and this guy's not bar mitzvah. right? And it's Gzeras HaKasav. The Torah says, Kisein Isha Re'eh V'lo Katan. A person has to give to his friend money, not a katan. Now, obviously the father gave the katan money, but this katan wants to obey him. So Rashi says, no, here he's Baba Makom Aviv. He's coming, the loan was his father, right? The father gave out the loan. So the katan, even though he's a katan, he's coming with the taina of his father, so it's not a lack of his own taina. So therefore, we're talking about a katan over here, right? And Tosfos says no. The Gemara, even though the Gemara relents, we're still talking about an actual gadol. He's called a katan because he's just like a katan lacks certain sort of intelligence. Also, the son over here, he doesn't have full knowledge of the loan. If the father lends out the money, he knows full well he paid back. The katan, even though he's owed bar mitzvah, he doesn't necessarily know as well as the son. That's why he calls him a katan. So that's the Machlokes Rashi and Shel said. The Mafika Maskana the Gemara, are we talking about a gadol or a katan? So, and the Gemara says the Machlokes Shel Ezra ben Yaakov and the Rabbanan is over whether the son, the love, the person who borrowed the money, will he be made as panav b'pnei achovo for the son also? When his father lent the money and now his father died, right? So the Rabbanan say he's the Meishav Aveda, right? Because a person would be made with his, maybe he's with his son. And Elazar ben Yaakov says, no, you have to take a shvua that also by his son he won't be made as panav b'nei achovo. So I'd like to explain the Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos as follows: that if you say that we're talking about a katan, right? Katan. So there's a svara that even by a katan, a person won't be made as panav b'nei achovo. Right? It's if you learn the reason is that shvua modeh b'mikzas is ein adam made as panav b'nei achovo. Right? Chazaka people don't deny to their baal chov. Right? So it's got to be if a katan, he's a 7-year-old kid, an 8-year-old kid, right? I don't think too many people are embarrassed of denying an 8-year-old kid. The kid has no idea what's going on. He barely knows how to run the bases in Little League. So to deny in front of him. So if the reason of modeh mixas is because a person is not going to be made as panav b'nei achovo because he's embarrassed, so that katan will be embarrassed. So there's no makom to say that it applies over here. So Rashi's obviously going to have to learn that it's because of a debt of a gratitude, right? That halva, the guy owed your money. Even if the son is a katan, Rashi's learning he's a katan, he's an 8-year-old kid, but you have gratitude to the son, to the father through the son also, because he's the inheritor of the father. You own gratitude to that family that lend you out money, so you're not going to be made as panav. According to Tosfos, you don't have to say it. Tosfos learns we're talking about dafka gadol. By a katan, right? Everyone would agree, even Elazar ben Yaakov would agree that he'd be made over there, right? Because Tosfos obviously learns that the reason of modeh miktas chazaka in ameis panav b'nei achovo is because he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed, all right? So that's why Tosfos rejects the notion. We're talking about a katan. If by a katan, no one's going to say you're embarrassed of the katan. The katan is an 8-year-old kid. It's not hard to deny an 8-year-old kid. So Tosfos learns the reason of Rami Rachab of Rabba modeh miktas tani shava is because you're embarrassed. Therefore, you have to be talking about a gadol. And Rashi learns no, it's talking about we even talking about a katan, and the reason even by the son in is because of debt of gratitude. It's coming out of Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos about what really is Machlokes Rishonim by Shomer Chinam elsewhere in Shas. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in Mishnah Yomi coming up next.